hosts, Georgia and Lara. Today we have a very special guest, Issy. Introduce yourself. Tell us about you.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Izzy. I'm an events coordinator who kind of specializes in sporting events. Currently, I'm a product coordinator for a travel company who does just mostly sporting events all across Australia and pretty much all over the world. Social media manager for IndyCar um, Instagram page and Twitter called Speed You Later, which has been a great time. Photographer and just a massive motorsport fan. So thank you guys for having me.
Love that.
Woman of all trades.
Yeah,
Too
no.
much, some would say.
My job description is retail, so that was good.
No, I mean, it's good to have a lot of things that you're like passionate about that you like enjoy doing, for sure. So,
No,
like,
definitely.
has it been challenging running this social media platform, like the indie pages? And do you have anyone like any advice for anyone like that wants to do a similar thing?
Yeah, it definitely has been challenging. I guess mostly the big challenge is time zones. I'm, 14 hours ahead of everyone, so races are like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So definitely that aspect has been, but I guess being in such a good team, we just nail it and we're always, you're on it and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun. And I guess when you enjoy something, you don't care about the time zones because I get like
Mm.
you enjoy it. The time flies, and you're like, oh, it's clock 8:30 in the morning. I haven't slept, so so definitely it's been a lot of fun. And I guess my advice for people that want to do similar is you just gotta have get that experience somehow. I think a lot of us grew up with social media anyway, so we all have that experience of how it works and what doesn't. But I've done social media managing for things that weren't motorsports. So I've done like little pages and things like that. So I always recommend just doing like a small business or even starting your own and just like giving it a go and then maybe moving to like a bigger brand, just so you have that backing to put
Mm.
yourself out there.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that sounds super exciting. Well, obviously you enjoy it. Like how long have you been doing it for? Like what's the best part about doing it?
I've only just really started with Speed You Later. I think I've been there for maybe 2 weeks now.
Oh wow.
So we're very new, yeah.
So good.
And the most fun was, I guess, we just started the Twitter account. They hadn't reached out to Twitter yet, so I've been kind of put in charge with another girl, and we're just kind of pumping it all out and getting
Yeah.
it kind of growing, which has been a lot of fun. And learning all like their graphics and like how they like to do things. Yeah, so still in the learning stages, but it's been so much fun.
Yeah, no,
There's
that
a lot
sounds
to like grip onto and try and figure out, especially when you do it with like other people and you've got to kind of adapt everyone's style and like find one thing you like. It could
Yeah,
definitely be hard.
definitely. Yeah, and but they're so organized as well, which
Yeah.
has been great. Like they just have like they use Canva, so which I guess so many people do, but they have like
yeah.
everything just ready to go. They'll just send you the link, like edit this and change it to what it is, and it's just like, yep, done.
Yeah, ready spaghetti.
Pump it out quickly. So yeah, they're great.
Awesome. And how did you get into doing events management? Give us a bit of a rundown on that.
Yeah, so it's I guess like it's such a weird backstory because I never wanted to get into like events.
Yeah.
Never was like my forte, but I worked at Crown and we kind
Mm.
of went through a period there where they needed an events host, events
Mm-hmm.
manager kind of role. And I was like, oh, I'll just step up because I'm the manager, might as well just help out in the event space.
Yeah.
Kind of just fell in love with it and it was like a lot of fun. Like it was really stressful and, there's so much to events,
Yeah.
Mm.
but I was just enjoying it. And so I spent a couple months doing that and then left that job and then kind of just stepped into more higher roles in events where I worked at the Australian Open and Melbourne Sports Centres and did events there, which led me to the
Mm.
AusGP, which was so much fun. But yeah, so it kind of just fell into my lap really. I never thought about it, and then here
Yeah.
we are.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool way to get into it. I feel like when those opportunities kind of open up, it's definitely good to like grasp at them, give them a go. And obviously, yeah, it's like a hit and miss. You find out whether or not you like it, and now look at you. So definitely worth it.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, like sports just has such like a broad spectrum of things you can be doing, and
Definitely.
I guess coming from like a photography and arts background, I always wanted to do it, but it's such a hard field to get into that finding, I guess, your niche in it is so like special, and so happy that I found my kind of area because, it's quite hard.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can imagine it must be a pretty surreal experience to kind of fall into a dream role, right? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
Because
yeah, no, sorry, go.
I was gonna say, because it's like growing up wanting to do, I guess, one thing, and then being in such like your early 20s and just that path changing so quickly. It definitely is like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, but I guess like it really does all work out in the end. Like,
Yeah.
you just kind of got to believe that you can do it, and then
Yeah, I think Georgia and I are kind of both going through that right now. We're both studying degrees where we're like, are we certain that this is what we want to do? Because as we've started the podcast, we've kind of slowly discovered that maybe the route we were originally taking is not the path, which is,
yeah.
I think it happens. I think at some point it happens to everyone, like whether you're like 15 and you're changing career, like changing what you decide to do, or like whether you're 25 and you're like, well, I don't know what to do anymore.
My prime example of this is that my mum is 50 and she's just graduated from a midwifery course at university. So this is my prime example. Like, she was a graphic designer for years and then had enough, and now she's done this, and now she's a midwife, and like, I could never go back to uni with 3 kids. We're pains in the asses. But she did, and so that's my prime example. Is like, you could change your mind 1,000 times till you find something you really love, and and it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, you just do what you want to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think COVID, changed so many people's everything. Like, it just threw everything out the window. And I guess for me, it definitely was quite scary because my parents have just very like they've had the same kind of jobs. Like, my dad's definitely moved up in his company and stuff like that, but they've always just done the same thing. So being like, actually, maybe I don't want to do my degree in photography anymore. Like, it was very scary. But yeah, I think COVID's just changed it for everyone, which is great because everyone's more like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like everyone's like, just do what you want.
Yeah, it's like life's too short anymore. Like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I feel like we're really like a different generation to what our parents were. So like looking up to them and them being like the stability, it's like, oh my god, this is kind of scary. Like branching so far off from like the past.
Yeah. Yeah, and you talk to all like your friends, and you even talk to I've talked to my parents about it, and they're like, yeah, we wish we, did things differently or, went down a different path, but that wasn't like we couldn't do that really. Where we, I guess, have so much more flexibility just to go, oh, we'll just change my degree or just drop out. Like, it's not going to affect me now because
so many more ways to get into what you want to do, no matter what. Like,
especially in sports and like really entertainment. It's not even like what you have as a backing. It's just who you know.
Exactly.
Like, it's who your friends know. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, making those connections and making those friendships too, and having that trust and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, let me think. I don't know a whole lot about IndyCar. I only know
God.
drivers. And so I'm not going to quiz you, but I was just like, I'm going to make you do a quiz.
Okay.
I'm going to find one and make you do it. It brings me great joy. Oh my god, sorry, Lara. We should do a Kahoot sometime. Anyway.
Oh, love a good Kahoot.
I'm so sorry, that was such a sidetrack. Back in action. So, let me ask you first. Would you prefer to do an IndyCar one or an F1 quiz if I was to get you to do one?
Oh.
Or are you happy with either or?
I'm happy with either or. I bet F1 I'll do a lot better at because IndyCar is definitely still a new girl for me.
Easy peasy.
IndyCar is so confusing. I just started watching IndyCar recently. And I'm like, oh my god, this is great. Like, but also like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that's me most races, and I think a lot of them are still like we're all still trying to grapple with what is actually happening. But it's a lot of fun because every time it's just a different winner. Like, it's never the same. So it's always like.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it so entertaining. Is it changes so constantly. Like the winners, and that's what I think makes it a bit more interesting than F1, and that's why I do want to start watching it.
Yeah, especially Indy 500. It's going to be massive.
That's soon, isn't it? Is that this weekend?
That's this weekend.
Yeah, so we've got the qualies tomorrow morning for me, or for us.
Yeah.
Just like I think they start at like 4, and then the race is like coming up on the weekend.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I do want to
no.
watch that. I feel like that's the one I always watch, mostly because like it'd be like, oh, my dad will be like, oh, the Indy 500's on, and I'm like, okay.
It's like the Indy 500 is our Bathurst, basically.
Yeah,
It's like everyone watches Bathurst and everyone else watches Indy, but they don't watch the whole season.
Literally, exactly. It always baffles me how like crazy like Bathurst is. Like that's such a good example. Because I'm not like, yeah, what is that, supercars?
Yeah.
Like I'm not really into supercars. Like my dad is, but I'm not really into supercars. And I reckon every year on Bathurst, Dad's like, "Can you get out? I'm trying to fucking watch Bathurst." But I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't even know how big it was because like we used to go to Bathurst for school trips, and like
Right.
now seeing just how big it actually is, I was like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, I was like, oh god, we used to just go there for if you were good that year, you got to go to Bathurst, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I think generally speaking, over the last like 3 or 4 years, with COVID and just generally, motorsports have really been on the rise.
Yeah,
So I think where Bathurst was still like pretty big in the last like however long it's been going on, I think it's really just kind of pushed itself up another level.
What is
yeah, definitely.
Bathurst? Is there anything?
What?
What is there to do there?
Not much.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I was gonna say in the actual town of Bathurst, it's
because I
pretty
Google it
small.
and nothing comes
Yeah.
up except someone being arrested.
You can camp there to watch the supercars.
So that's
Yeah, it's called Tent City, and it's just massive tents everywhere.
Oh, that's funny. Is it? How big is it? Let me see the population. Can you tell I get sidetracked?
It's like Bathurst is just
Oh, it's not.
it's one of those races that's just got nothing around it but the race.
Yeah.
It's got 45,000
you
people there.
obviously the AusGP is not quite like that, but there really isn't a lot around Albert Park apart from like the actual GP itself.
Yeah.
But in the centre in Melbourne, you can go to Crown after hit the park.
Yeah, but it's still like 30-40 minutes on public transport to get back into the city.
Is it?
Yeah.
On race weekend, yeah.
I'm gonna say. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't go to Melbourne that often. And if I do, I walk everywhere. Like I usually, if I go to Melbourne, I go like directly to Crown. So I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I don't. Yeah. I have no clue.
Come on, Georgia, move to Melbourne.
I don't think I could.
Come on, it's great weather down here always.
My aunt always says that to me. She lives in Brighton, and she's always like, "Why don't you just come here, stay with us for a bit, suss it out?" I'm like, "I'm gonna pass." Melbourne traffic.
No.
Yeah, it definitely. I think it's like either you love it or you just don't. Like
That's my fear. I think I would rage because I rage in Geelong, and Geelong's not that bad. So I don't know how I would survive in Melbourne City.
yeah, I'm the passenger princess of because I live with my sister, so I'm the one that's yelling. She's just like, oh my god, like it's people don't know. Especially last night, I don't know what was in the air, but people just couldn't drive in the city. It was really annoying.
I know. I honestly don't think people can drive in the city. I say
driving in
I've
the
been doing
city
it for years, but I'm so dead set certain.
Driving in the city is like the scariest thing ever. I literally refuse to do it unless I'm forced to.
Yeah, I 100% feel that.
I'll take my little cousin shopping. She lives in Brighton, and like she'll be my little passenger princess, and she'll just be like laughing, playing music really loud the whole time, singing along, like telling me everything, and I'm like trying to
white knuckling.
I'm like, yeah, literally, I'm like sweating, and I'm like, oh, and then she's like, oh, what's that turn? Just keep going. I'm like, what? Like I can't handle it. Terrifies me.
See, I also think the problem with me personally and driving is that now that I watch F1, I'm convinced that I can drive well and that I can drive like an F1 driver. So when someone's like not driving well, I'm like, fuck you, like I'm better than you, like let me go.
You ever just like you drive along and just quickly chuck your car in sports mode for a bit and then switch? Do you have sports mode? Does every car have
No,
that?
I don't.
Stupid question. I don't know.
You went, I have sports mode, guys.
I mean, that was pretty much saying.
Just a subtle drop of that.
That was pretty much literally. Like, 'cause I do
Not
that.
all of us have nice cars, Georgia.
I'll be at a red light, and I'm like, okay, and then I just smack it into sports mode, and then BAM! And then, like, it's short-lived, because then I speed, and then I'm like, I'm panic. Or sometimes I knock it, and it changes gears, and then I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And so I'm like, shit. So I try to avoid sports mode. But sorry, I do have sports.
You're like, humbly, I will not use sports mode.
That backfired on me so much. I'm blushing.
Yeah, I was going to say. My car doesn't even have sports mode, so...
I just assumed every car did. Now I feel really stupid.
I'm pretty sure that 2013 Kia that's downstairs doesn't have sports mode.
Go check, I need to know. I need answers. I don't know why. Maybe because both my parents... Now I'm making it worse. Everyone I know has sports mode, so I've just made this assumption. That's really backward me. I'm gonna... Okay.
We've just thrown you for a loop.
I need to make some phone calls.
Georgia's calling everyone she knows, being like, do you have sports mode in your car?
Literally, hey, your car, that's sports mode, right? Now that I'm starting to think about it, I've definitely been in cars that I don't have. Maybe it's because my friends I'm making it worse, but she doesn't have one. I don't know.
Just digging the hole.
I know, nicer car. She's got a mum car because she's got 2 kids, and we'll be driving along, and she'll chuck it in sports mode sometime for a laugh, and it revs.
Yeah, but sometimes those minivan like cars definitely have sports mode, but that's probably just because they're so big.
Okay, well, there you go. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna go now. This was fun. I loved every moment of it. Is it too early to have
Goodbye, Georgia. We will never speak again.
It's too early to have wine. Once it hits 12 p.m, it's reasonable. I feel like Sundays I can wine day-to-day drink.
Sure.
Maybe if I'm 50. Maybe I'm just...
In this time, did you find a quiz, or do you want to...
Well, I have. So I'm going to do a different quiz to last time. So, how did you get into Formula One? Give us a bit of a rundown. Yep, you're up now.
Yeah, so that was terrible. That silence really got me. But
voice tone changed.
But I guess, like, thinking back, I didn't really grow up on Formula One. I don't think it was that prominent in really my life. I was definitely more supercars when I was younger. But I think, like everyone, during COVID, I stumbled on Drive to Survive. I actually haven't watched all of it. I watched probably half of one season and was like, I think that's enough for me.
That was me. I've seen 2 episodes of the first season and I was like, okay.
I was like watching them on like planes and stuff, and I was like, yeah, no, this is just enough. Like, this is good entertainment while I'm sitting on a plane, but like I can't sit down and watch it. Like,
yeah. No, I've seen the first 3 seasons all the way through. And then I started season 4, but then it got to mixed episode, and I was like, I'm not mentally stable enough to watch this.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I would not go and watch that. I couldn't. But, and then, I guess, 2021, I want to say, I was like, all right, let's start watching some races. And I didn't watch all of them at first, but then 2022, I was like, I'm in. Like, I'm stuck now. Like, I've got it. My dad is so sick of hearing about it, but he's also like, what's going on? And I'll just like tell him, and he'll be like, don't know who any of these people are, which is so funny because he's like,
that's my dad. Like, my dad is into it, but not crazy into it the way like I am, where I watch all the races, and like I'll text him an update, and he's Ferrari, so if it's not good, he just says no or like a thumbs down. And that's it. I'm like, sorry, I shouldn't have said anything.
That sounds exactly like my dad. He's also like, he's into F1, but I think he almost regrets having me being into F1 because I'm like, my older brothers were into it, but never like I was. So now I just like bombard him with information.
That's literally
and he's
me to
like,
my dad.
just leave me alone for like 10 minutes. Like this hat up here, I stole from him. I was like, this is mine now. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
That's literally my dad. My dad will be walking around the garage, like, working on things, and I'll be behind him, like, oh my god, you're not going to believe, so this is what's happening, and blah, 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 and he's like...
Yeah, I'll call my dad, and I'll be like, blah, 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 Lewis. I think he knows 3 drivers, thanks to me, which is Lewis, Daniel, and... who else do I talk to him about a lot? I want to say Mick, but because I was heartbroken, and he heard all about that. I was like, Dad, you're going to have to listen. He's like, all right. So he knows. Yeah, literally, I was like, Dad, you're not gonna believe what happened. And he's got thinks something terrible has happened to me, and I'm like, he's lost his seat. And he's like, who? And I'm like, two of them have actually.
I'd send me to therapy right now.
Like, Dad, you need to pay the bills to send me off.
Start doing overtime because this is it. I've lost the plot.
It was the same with Sebastian announced his retirement. I was sitting in the car before we were going to dinner, and I just like let out some like the biggest gasp, and like he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "He's retiring." That's like God's sake.
I think I literally ran to my dad and I was like, Dad, Sebastian Vettel just announced he's retiring, and then I started bawling my eyes out.
Yeah, I think because my dad definitely knows like the older like Kimi, Sebastian, Schumacher, like all that. So he was like, "Oh," but I don't think he even knew he was still racing. I think he was like, "Oh, that sucks," and was like trying to put it together in his head, like, "Are they still racing?" Yes.
Because Seb's only like 34, 35? 34.
Yeah, he's still quite young.
Yeah.
Right.
But he entered into F1 like quite young.
Yeah. He's 30.
Yeah, which I guess, it does make quite a big difference.
Unless you're Fernando Alonso, in which case you just keep
That
going.
man is 21. He will forever be 21 in his mind. He doesn't grow old.
Exactly, yeah, he's just vibing. Literally. He's just living his life, doing his thing.
I mean, like, the Aston Martin this year is making good progress, so, like,
Which
I don't
is
actually
great.
Watch him want to stay for longer,
Right.
Like, he's not going to leave. He's never going to
He's white-knuckling that seat. He's not letting go of it. He's like, that's my seat now.
Actually,
He's dying in that seat.
He'll never go away now. We're stuck with him.
Especially if they like come back and like win. Like you're stuck. He's owning that team.
That's my feeling.
That's his team.
I want him to have a win, but if he wins, my God, what do we do?
Yeah, that's all the Aston Martin garage right now. Like, we want to win, but God, what's the cost?
Every reserve is like, I'm going to call it. It's fine. I'll look somewhere else.
Felipe's like, maybe I will go to Formula E. He's like, actually, we'll just leave.
Yeah, he's like, let him have it.
IndyCar.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'll go there.
Oh, good. Because I can guarantee he will, once he gets that win, it's just going to be, alright.
Yeah, he's like, right, I'm back on.
Yeah. Just pulls a pen out of nowhere and is like, let's do this. He's had it ready this whole time. That's my thing. In talking about teams and drivers, who is your favourite team? Who are you supporting at the moment?
Oh, it's always a toss-up, because this year it's definitely been Aston Martin. I've just been their little fangirly, but I've always been a Ferrari fan.
Right.
So pain and suffering has always been my favourite thing.
It's Red Bull too.
Yeah, at most race weekends I'm like, oh, there we go.
So we're both in pain. Lara's Red Bull, so she's just like...
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
I'm just out here vibing.
You know that TikTok sound? It's like... I can't think of it. I'm going to find it. It's Lara. I know exactly what I meant.
No, it's like, well, like... Because Daniel is my favourite driver, and he will forever, like, hold a place in my heart. Like, forever and always. So I was like, Daniel's going back to Red Bull, which means time to go back to Red Bull. And now, now that I pay attention to Red Bull, I like Max. So I'm like, this is great.
I would agree, but, like, I just have a vendetta against Red Bull. Don't know why. There's just, me and Red Bull don't get on, but I do have Red Bull Danny Rick merch. So,
yeah,
I will wear it, but...
But only because it's Danny Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I was like, you know what? They love him. It's fine. Just as long as they treat him good, we're on good terms.
Yeah, no. I'm like, my dad was really into F1 during, like, Danny's Red Bull era. So I'm like, great. You have all the merchandise. I can steal it all.
Yeah. I think that's my dad definitely knew Danny from Red Bull, and because when I was updating him about all the moves he's done. But I feel like, especially in Australia, I've known about Danny since I was like little. It feels like I've just always known about that man, and also Lewis Hamilton. Those two I've just always known about.
Yeah, for sure. I think they've always been the most. You found the sound?
I did find the sound. So this is a fantastic representation of mine and Lara's friendship with this whole Red Bull Ferrari thing. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but this sound is what I meant.
Yeah, what is going?
That is
No, I
what,
100% agree. That is so funny.
that is what I was
Georgia,
trying to get at.
Georgia, I think we need to make a TikTok out of that now.
That is what I was trying to get at. That is how I feel being Ferrari and Lara being Red Bull.
Yeah, no. I think that's exactly the situation we're in.
That was the first 5 minutes of the Oz GP.
God. That was the most chaotic race I have watched.
The poor Paddock Club had to hear me yell when that happened. I was like, I need to leave this job, actually. I've had enough.
So you were working this year at the Oz GP. What
Yeah.
was that like? What did you do?
It was so much fun. It was definitely, I did, I think, a 90-hour week, which was crazy because we were there for crack of dawn till, so late just making sure we're all set up. But I worked with the partnerships team. So basically any of the hospitality suites from, like pit exit, the Brabham, which was hard enough to get up to, pit entry, the Paddock Club, we helped out with a little bit just to make sure they were all good. And then basically, with hand in hand, I just did anything anyone needed me to do. So basically a glorified runner who got too many jobs at once. So I just, was shuttling people around that needed to get places, took the trophy around for a spin, made sure it got, shown off to all the Paddock Club and stuff like that.
Love that.
But yeah, it was so much fun. It definitely was the hardest week I think I've ever worked in my life, but I saw so many amazing people, which was so great.
I assume it was well worth it, though, despite the very long days.
Yeah, definitely. I think because, I guess, it didn't feel like it was going on for so long. The days were just going so quickly that we're like, God, it's 9:30 at night. We haven't finished what we needed to finish.
Yeah.
Because, there's so much going on. But yeah, that week flew, and then I think the week after I just slept just so long because I was catching up on all the sleep I didn't get.
Yeah, that's so fair.
Yeah, it was a chaotic week, especially that last probably 2 hours.
How did you get the role at the OzGP? Was it volunteer or?
So no, it was paid with them. It was a full-time, I guess, weekly role. So it was a funny story because at the time when I got the call, I applied for it through the GP website because they had obviously all different roles going.
Yeah. I
was working at the Australian Open, so I was so busy, and one of the guys who ended up being my boss texted me. He's like, "Hey, just calling from the Oz Corp. Do you have 10 minutes?" And jumped on a call with him, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm working at the AO till March, so I can't I'm not free till then." He's like, "Oh, I need someone to start now," and I was like, "Oh, it's not going to work out. It's all right. There's next year, whatever." And then it was the last week of my contract, and I was like, "I'm just going to text him and see if there's anything going on, what's And then he got back to me. He was like, "Yeah, we need some help out on the partnerships team. Are you down?" And I was like, "Yeah," and that was it. And then 2 weeks later, we started, and I was like, "This is how I would get the job."
Yeah, I feel like it's a prime example of you miss all the shots you don't take.
Yeah, and I was definitely sitting on it for I think 2 weeks, being like, "Oh, I don't know if I should text. I don't want to seem pushy or anything like that." But I was just like, I'm just gonna send a nice text saying, "Hey, I'm freeing up. Got anything going? All good.
Yeah.
Let me know." And so yeah, definitely always send a text is my my motto because it's always gonna land you something. Sometimes I'm just so bad at replying to people, but I'm like, no, just send a message. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess the worst that can happen is that someone says no, and
oh well. Yeah, and you go, "Oh no, nothing's going on." Yeah.
Go back to my quiz that I was rudely interrupted, but that is my fault. My camera cut out, and I'm still glitching on my one, so I'm watching myself really intensely. But back to choosing so are we going with Ferrari as your favorite F1 team?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. We're going to find out if that is true.
Oh God, it's going to be terrible.
I'm so excited. So,
well, so far we've had 100% success rate.
Exactly right. So, don't let me down. Also, probably turn your headphones down because if it does go well, I will scream. So say that's a warning. I've given you the warning.
It was bad. It was.
Well, you've now received a warning.
I'm prepared.
I can't help you from here. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's find out if Izzy's a liar or not.
A fraud.
Okay. How important is history to you? A, I want a team that knows that... Wait, 1 second, I'm stuttering. A, I want a team that knows what it's like to win. B, I'd prefer a team with a fresh identity. Or C, old or new, it doesn't matter to me.
Or I'd go with A.
A, okay, interesting. Where do you want to be based? A, in a modern, sparkling facility. B, on a huge campus with everything I need in one place. C, next to our motorsport activities, why not share the expertise? Or D, near a circuit, I want to be able to test and able to test and bring up data cool with me. Archie, please, this is my time to shine.
Ooh, I'm gonna go near a circuit.
Okay. Archie, this is not your time. What kind of... I can never say this. Is it livery? I always livery. Okay. What kind of livery would you run? A, one primary colour to keep things clean and simple. B, I want at least 2 core colours to mix things up. Or C, whatever the pattern, I'd like our car to be the brightest on the grid. We can just hear Archie.
I'll go number 2. At least 2.
Okay. What type of team principle would you like? A, the need to set the most ambitious targets out there. B, goals aside, I want them to make their voice heard in the media. C, being blunt and straight to the point is the way forward. Or D, we should quietly go about our business and talk on the track.
I'd say being blunt and straight to the point.
Okay. And last but not least, what would be your preferred driver lineup? A, 2 experienced racers who I can rely on. B, a blend of youth and experience for a potent combination. That one got me. Or C, 2, I forgot what letter I was up to. 2 eager youngsters ready to prove themselves.
Oh god. I would probably go... I say a blend. I like a blend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
God, I'm nervous.
Williams! Okay, you're cancelled.
Alright, well, this has been so much fun. I need to leave. But that's actually... I don't mind that because I do love Alex, so...
Okay, I'll let you have it then. I mean, I'm
Close enough.
Love Alex.
I was excited to scream at Ferrari like I got to scream at the other day with the results, so I'm not going to lie, I'm slightly disappointed. But it's fine, I can move on from this. But
So what we're saying is I need to get rid of all the Ferrari merch I see around me right now. It's really good.
Yeah. Unfortunately so.
I wouldn't bother doing
Okay,
it.
and then I can only buy Williams merch. Really good. Can't wait.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so we don't make the rules. This is just kind of
This is just
what
how it goes.
F1 says.
Yeah, F1's going to come to my house and make sure that
No, we're
it's all in
going to
order.
come to your house and do a scoping, and you're going to want to hope there's Williams up everywhere.
a big sign, a big flag in the background.
Or you can just be like me and specifically support Daniel wherever he goes.
Well, she can't.
See, I have a Daniel helmet, so it's over there.
Can you just stick a cutout W on it? It's fine.
I'll just paint it. It's all right.
And then you're good. No stress. No, not a problem. You'll be good to go. That's all that matters. But okay. Well, I've had my fun, Lara. I'll let you do what you were doing.
If you couldn't already tell, Georgia comes in from time to time and is like, yeah, this is my time to shine.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time she's like, Lara, there you go.
I have my...
She went, okay, I've had my fun. It's time to sit back for 5 minutes until I think of something else.
Oh, exactly right. And you'll see me like side-eye my browser, like thinking of something to do. Because I'm just like, I get too invested.
Well, what was your favourite part of the weekend at the GP?
Oh, it all blends to one to me, but I think the day before gates opened was so much fun because it was like all of us team and then all like F2, F3 and the F1, everyone was there, so it felt very like weird in a sense because like there's no like fans, there's no other people there, and we're all just like mingling and so that was definitely a highlight. But I think race day, because as soon as like 10 minutes before the race started, they were like, all right guys, well, you're not needed anymore, so you can go watch it. Like, just go off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're all up the top on Paddock Club just watching, which was, it was such a cool experience to be up there and being like, oh.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Shit's all over our view, Lara.
Georgia, why do you do these things?
It's true. We were in the same spot, but different. Same, but different. I was sitting though. I had grandstand seats. I wasn't that poor that weekend, so I can't relate to being on the grass.
Yeah, no. I only had a GA pass, so I had 4-day GA, and by the end of the weekend, my legs were literally about to fall out from underneath me.
Yeah, I don't know how people, like, so many people were in GA, and I was like, I don't know how you guys are doing it.
I know, it's quite impressive, like, and the amount of people that do it, and, like, because, yeah, we had grandstand tickets on the Sunday, and just before, me and my partner had to go to the toilet, and there was, like, lines on either end, and we're both staring at each other. He's, like, in the meds, and I'm, like, in the women's, and we're both, like, waiting, and you'd walk past all the GA sections of, like, where people can sit and watch it, and it was just, like, holy shit. Like, you'd want to be there early to actually be able to see anything, like, get a decent spot.
Yeah, most people were pretty nice, though. Like, if you put down, like, a blanket or a backpack or something, and you weren't gone for, like, an excessive amount of time, they tended to keep your spot, which was pretty nice. Yeah, because I got in super early to get a spot, because I was like, I'm not missing this. And then it was chaos, right from the word go.
It was chaos. It was so funny because in my section, I was the one with like the little radio. I had my dad's old like Walkman thing, and I was there, and I'm going, okay, yeah, guys, and everyone's like, and I'm like going to Blake, my partner, I'm going, this is what's happening, and then Blake really like goes, okay, yeah, okay, and then everyone's like, what? I felt like I should have been given a mic and commentate because you couldn't see the screens properly from where we were, like like glitching out. And there was one girl behind us who we started talking to who had KO on her phone. So, like, where her and her mates are all watching KO, and then me and Blake like, oh, so nice to meet you. What are you?
Yeah, it was such, like, a big thing that we were all trying to, like, we kept telling people, like, that were in, like, that's called, like, command. Like, the TV's down. Where? Oh, all of them.
Yeah,
like, get them up and working. Like, I'm sure you guys can have a look and see what ones are down.
Yeah, the TVs were constantly down. The highlight for race weekend, actually, for me, wasn't even the race. It was the entertainment of watching that helicopter come over every single time. Every time I back to Blake, oh, there's the helicopter. And he's like, what? And then he'd miss the race. Because it'd be like filming up. I loved it. I was having time of my life.
The KO helicopter, or?
I don't know which helicopter it was, but I was loving it. It just kept coming around every
I think that we had one helicopter that was doing just rounds for the, obviously, GP Corp, social media team. They were in it all the time. Yeah, and I think there was like joy flights as well, so there was a lot of helicopters.
The race is going, and I'm just like, oh.
No, yeah, because the bright green one, I think, was the KO helicopter, which kept on going round and round and round. And then there was probably about 10 joy flight helicopters, because I got pretty lucky, and I got one for my birthday to do at the LGP. And we got there, and we're like, Jesus Christ, like, we didn't realize that.
Did you end up doing the helicopter?
Yeah.
How was it?
Oh, it was so much fun.
Was it?
It's literally so fast, though. It's literally like 5 minutes, maybe. You wait in your line for probably longer than you're up in the air.
Yeah, were you claustrophobic?
Which is like the only downside. Sorry?
Why haven't we talked about this? How did it go? Were you like claustrophobic at all? Only time I've been on a helicopter is with 5 other fucking people. So I don't fuck with helicopters because 2 of those people vomit each time. They know. My brother.
See, I got to sit in the front seat.
Lucky son of a bitch. My mum always gets to sit in the front seat when we do helicopter tours every single goddamn time, and then I'm stuck with 3 men in the back. It infuriates me. Okay, continue. Tell us about the Oz GP.
Well, like,
because someone else in the back.
Sorry?
Was it just you, or did you have to like be with someone else?
No. So I went with my cousin on Sunday. So it was me and her. I got sat in the front because I was the smallest. I think that's why I think. And then it was her in the back with like 2 other guys, I think. But no, it was super cool. It was super exciting. You get to like fly over the track. You get to see everything. The only downside was that nothing was happening on the track that we could actively see. I believe the drivers, we had just missed the drivers' parade, unfortunately. Okay. So it was just kind of a lull, but it was still really exciting to like go up and be able to see everything from like a bird's eye view.
Where did they drop you off?
the same place they pick you up.
Oh,
from.
okay. I just wasn't sure if they're like taking you somewhere else. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
No, it's a big circle.
Oh, fuck that. I'm getting like motion sickness thinking about it. I'm literally like, ugh. Did you get any good videos?
Yeah, I've got heaps.
Why have we never talked about this?
I just assumed I
We're at the
told
end of
you.
fucking May.
Hold on, let me
No, I believe
get up a photo.
I believe you.
You can show me after. It's all good. I'm just surprised we've never talked about this.
I genuinely thought I had told you.
No, because I would have had this exact same response to it. I was like, oh, helicopters.
Well, I mean, this is one of the photos. I know my phone's a bit hard to see, but that's the track that you can see.
Does it cost a lot? It would cost a bit to do it, wouldn't it?
It was a birthday present, so I have no idea, but I think it's...
Googling the prices just to confirm how much someone spent on you?
No, because it was my brother, so I don't... Yeah, he normally never buys me gifts, so...
Oh my god, my brother, speaking of buying gifts, again, so off topic, he brought me a birthday present last year, but left it at Star Trek for 2 months, so he never went and picked it up, and then it got set back, and he just never bothered to... And I buy him a present every year. I bought him something for his 18th, like went all out, spent so much money on him. Then my 21st rolled around and goes, oh, so it's Star Trek, I'll get it one day. Never saw it. So.
And one day never came.
And every time I go home to Shepherd and I see the little like thing sitting on his desk, oh, I've got fluff my little Star Trek thing.
Still got it.
Yeah, it's still there. It's his name to come pick it up. And I'm like, what could have been? Would have been nice. Anyways.
Oh god. Chaos.
Oh, sorry. I want to ask about the tennis because I'm into tennis. So,
Ooh.
if Lara asked while I was dying over here on my camera, how was it working there? Like, give me a bit of a rundown on that. Like, I know it's very off topic to motorsport. Sorry, Lara, but I have always loved the tennis, and my mum and brothers go every year. They're obsessed with it. So when I was like stalking your Instagram, I was like, oh my god, she's been to the Oz Open, and Lara goes, okay, what else? I'm like, oh yeah, no, she's at the Oz GITP, but the tennis.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Like, oh my god, I can't wait to ask her about the tennis.
I like that. I think that's like honestly one of my all-time favorite jobs I've ever had.
Really?
Like it just was so much fun. And I was definitely not like a tennis girly before. I had never really watched it. I knew obviously about the AO because like Ash Barty and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, yeah, I know a bit about it. And I had a friend who had worked there before. So when I managed to somehow land a job there, I was like, this is insane. The work that goes, because I was there for like a month before the matches started.
Yeah.
And then just those 3 weeks, it was just so like not even hectic, but it was just so much fun, and like we're taking everything in, and like we all learnt so much about it.
Yeah.
It was such a crazy world, and now I'm like actively a tennis girl. I was like, this is...
Yeah. So what was your role while you were at the tennis? What were you doing?
So I was the broadcast bookings and service coordinator.
Yeah.
So I pretty much worked with all the broadcasters. We have our own little big office that gets built every year. And so I pretty much just helped them out with their rooms, make sure everything's good. And then I was helping out because we have a desk that sits quite near us. It's called the shoots desk. So pretty much they will coordinate interviews with the players. They're a little bit short on staff. So my team, there was 3 of us, we would help out where we could. And so we got to experience, taking broadcasters for interviews and like post and pre-match and stuff like that. So it was a giant role as well. Like there's more to it, but like it's just crazy how much like goes into it.
Yeah, no, it is. And like 3 weeks, it's a hectic sport. Like it's like so constant too. Like during the 3 weeks, like mum would be texting me going, so this has just happened, like this is who's playing, and I'm like, I can't keep up.
It was funny because I think we're like 3 days into the matches, and me and obviously the other girl who I worked quite closely with, we didn't know how it worked. So we're like, oh, do people start getting eliminated? And one of the other girls just turned to us and she goes, what do you think this is? And I was like, honestly, I thought they had like warm-ups matches like before. Like it feels like they should have had a warm-up match before. And she's like, yeah, makes sense, but that's just not how an open works. And I was like, all right, just, hey, safe space.
Yeah. I said that. No, it is so chaotic, the tennis. But like, yeah, my mum and brothers go every year. And I haven't been in years. I was going to go this year because it's quite cheap to go to the tennis too. Like, it's not a crazy amount to go. Like, even if you're at the back, like it's quite affordable. But it is also so hectic and always booked out. Like, so
Yeah, definitely. And like even like coming in, like I would do the afternoon slash evenings, as we got into the later tournament because obviously that's when more matches are happening.
Yeah.
And I'm just coming in at like 2 p.m. and I'm like, there are so many people. I just run and go through like the security checkpoint to go underground so I could just miss
Yeah.
all because there's just so many people there. And I'm like, it's really cool.
Mm.
Don't they? They have
And how did working at the Oz Open compare with working at the Oz GP?
There's definitely a lot of differences that I have noticed. I guess it's just like the scale how the Oz Open like was. It was so big but so contained. So like we had everyone, you knew where everything was, and it like, but with the Oz GP, it felt very spread out. Like
Mm.
everything was so far away. Like we had to go to the Ricardo Suites, and it was like by buggy, it took at least 15 minutes to get there, and I was like, this is so far away compared to like all that. And I guess it was very relaxed at the Oz GP. We had obviously, big issue with security, but at the Open, they're very like, if you're not supposed to be there, you're not going to be there for much longer. Like it's very quick. And I think we only had really one bad security incident at the Open because I don't know, the security team was so good. Like they just, I guess that's kind of like the tennis
Mm.
prestige.
Yeah,
But
because I feel like tennis is very like ooh la la, like.
yeah, it's such like I didn't even like really notice how like high up, especially the AO was, like how our uniforms, like everything had to look really like perfect and everything was so nice and clean. Like it was like, oh, like this is amazing. We're at the OzGP, we're in mud.
I was just gonna say you just rolling through mud. You're in the
I'm
trenches.
knee deep in mud pushing a van out while people watch me, which is the funniest story. Because
Yeah, tell us.
this is a funny story. So it was like I think like it was the first day, and like obviously the day before it was like pouring with rain. We were still soaking from the day before. We had driven up to where all the cars for like F1 and all that park, and there was a van, and he like kind of waved us, and we stopped the buggy, and we're like, "What's up?" He's like, "Oh, I'm stuck." And we're like, okay, us two little girls, we can help. Like, it's all good. And as we're pushing it, two F2 drivers are walking past just watching. And I was like, guys,
Oh
you have
god.
muscles. You push, help us. Like, I was like, you know what? No, this is giving us more motivation to push this van out because you guys are not going to help us.
Like,
That's so funny.
fuck these guys.
And we pushed it out. We screamed out of pure happiness, and then we just carried on with that day. But I was like covered in mud, and I was like, oh my god, I need to go home and wash my clothes again.
That's so funny.
Like it was
What a
just
start to the day.
Yeah.
I could never. I would have left. I would have acted like I couldn't hear him and just kept driving. I'm so a bad person.
we went, oh yeah, we can help definitely, and then I was like, we regret helping because I'm pretty sure both of us did our backs terribly trying to push this van out.
That's funny. You know, that would have been painful, especially.
We had at that point in time we have just a list of all the things that we've done during that weekend that were like so just crazy that we're like, why has this happened? And that was like number one on the list. We're like, why did that happen?
How did I end up in this situation?
Yeah, that was every time one of the girls working, we were like, add that to the list, and we're like, fuck, alright. Time to add that to the list.
Oh, that's funny.
I love that that's the kind of things you like can do though. Like you have those experiences to write down and be like, the fuck? Like this is a great weekend, but also the fuck?
Yeah, because I think it's those moments that you remember as well, and you go like, why did that? Or how did that happen during like such a busy weekend? But yeah, it's definitely so much fun.
Yeah. Oh god. Well, that's great. Sorry, my dog's just walking back into the room. He distracted me.
Can you tell us sort of about him? I don't actually know where my dog is gone, if I'm completely honest. He
Left the
interrupted
building.
my time, my quiz time, and then the second I stopped, he was fine. So I'm not impressed.
He sensed
I'll be
it.
saying something later to him. We'll be having a talk.
You should have put the TV on for him.
I can't because
he
then
wouldn't have
my Riverside glitches because of the internet. Because I put Modern Family on for him when I go down the street. He loves it. And
Not a fan girly.
oh, I know. And then I get back. I'm like, oh, what episode are you watching? Like he's going to tell me. But I can't do that when I'm doing this because it interrupts the stream. My quality. So he has to suffer in silence. It's not my problem. He's got toys. He should not bark at the kids next door. It's on him. Oh, I can hear the kids screaming. Oh my god, it's going to happen. He's going to bark.
The ball's coming.
They're so loud. I know kids are loud, but my god, the other night it was 10 p.m. and they're playing soccer. I'm like, go to bed. There's no need for you to be out playing soccer at 10 p.m.
You went kids these days, God.
It's wet. It's raining. Where are your parents? Because like in Geelong, like I don't know, like the houses are literally
It's all housing.
each other.
It's all like massive housing estates down there.
I could literally stand on my decking outside and like look over the fence and suss out what they're doing. I could have,
Yeah.
That's my favourite thing to do. I'm such just a nosy neighbour. Like, I'm like, oh, what's
Right?
going on? I'm like, especially in the city, I'm like standing off the balcony, like, what's happening?
At my old
Where's there sirens?
Geelong, they started building right behind me, and I'd be in the kitchen, me and my roommate, and we'd be like making breakfast, and the tradies would be like, you'd be like, yeah, morning. Like, let's get the fuck back in the bedrooms. Let's go hide. Like, every day. Oh, and because we'd have to let the dogs out, so the dogs would be barking, and then we'd walk out, and they're like, oh, morning, and you'd be like, don't talk.
I like everyone's like that because I go home to like my parents' house and they just tell me all the latest gossip that they know, and like I'm like, Mum, you don't talk to anyone in this neighborhood. How do you know what's happening? She's like, I just like just got to keep up to date. I'm like, okay.
No, my area has a local like Facebook page that everyone posts on.
Yeah.
And honestly, I stay on it for the entertainment. Sometimes people post the most like out of pocket stuff that's like really that did not need to be public. But
Yeah.
sure. And
We
it's
had
so
one
funny.
when I lived in Darwin. We had one, and I'm still in it because I'm just like, what is happening up there? Like, what's going on in the neighborhood? I want to know.
Yeah, I'm in one for where I live too, and everyone's been bitching because they just opened a 7-Eleven here, and they wanted the drive-thru next to it to be a coffee place, but it's Red Rooster, and everyone's like, no! Everyone's infuriated.
I would be.
I've never had a 7-Eleven near me living in Shepparton, so mate, it's literally 3 minutes down the road. I've been getting Slurpees every other night. It's fine.
I mean, if it was Red Rooster, I think I would be fuming. Like, why?
I can't remember the last time I had Red Rooster, and the people are mad. The people are not impressed. It literally goes KFC, Dan Murphy's, McDonald's, the 7-Eleven, and now a Red Rooster. The people are not happy.
The golden group.
Yeah, literally, it's an iconic combination. Oh, and a Hungry Jack, sorry.
Oh wow,
God.
really just said fast food?
Yeah.
Yes.
What haven't they opened is the real question.
Yeah.
It's not what were they,
Oh,
it's what haven't
sorry,
they.
and there's a Carl's Jr. next to the Macca's now. So let me start again. It's Hungry Jack's, KFC, my girl Dan Murphy's, the supermarket.
Dad?
My girl
Murphy's?
Dan.
You said my girl
Dan
Dan
Murphy's.
Murphy's.
Yeah, my girl Dan Murphy's. My queen, my love, Dan Murphy's. The alcoholic.
You said dad.
Oh, did I?
Or I
Probably.
heard dad.
Dan. I say Dan. My dad's name is Danny, and I'll be like saying his name Danny, and then my partner's like, "Are you saying Daddy?" And I'm like, "No.
Oh,
Danny.
no.
It's not fun. It's a painful thing. All the alcohol. There's a Coles. They're now opening a library, and then it goes oh no, McDonald's. that was my reaction to the library. To Don Kilo. Then McDonald's, Coles Jr., 7-Eleven, and a Red Rooster. It's fantastic.
Yeah, love that for them.
Yeah. The people are not happy, I'll tell you what. They're infuriated on this Facebook page. Infuriated! Like,
Are you a part of the people or?
No. Well, I don't eat meat, so it doesn't bother me. All I'm going to get from all those places is fucking chips. So,
Fair.
I mean...
Do like a chip test, like a taste test? Be like, which one's the best?
I'm a KFC chip girl.
Oh, yeah.
My ride or die. There's no competition, so, that's an easy choice. Other than that, I'm usually an iced coffee girl from Macca's, but now that 7-Eleven is only going to charge me $3 for the same thing, babes, I'm going there. Not like I said it like I don't have a coffee machine. Like my dad just brought me like a coffee grinder. Oh my god, I'm going to get it and show you because it is the weirdest thing. I'm getting so excited.
This is a show and tell for my. Honestly, I respect it because I do love a good home coffee.
That's something that got away from me this morning. I got up and I was like, yeah, I'll make myself a coffee. And
I haven't made one either. And I'm like, why am I struggling so much today? I haven't had caffeine.
This is what my father...
Oh.
The coffee beans go in here and then I've got nothing in it, but then you it's so loud. And it takes so long. That took 10 minutes. I'm like, I've got a podcast to do.
Just hold it underneath the desk.
My my dad is very much into his coffee. So we've got like a fancy little coffee machine and like a proper like coffee grinder and the whole like little barista situation
That's what my
with
dad
the
has at
temp and
work.
everything.
My dad has one at work, and my mum asks for a coffee machine, and he goes, "You've got a kettle?" And mum was like, "But there's like."
That's my parents are the same. They only have like the kettle instant coffee. I'm here with a full machine and rigging out my own apartment. So I'm like, I love
I've got like
coffee.
the little Smeg one, and like the little
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my.
See, the funny thing is, I also live like next door to a cafe. So my parents will be like, and I work there as well. So my parents will come in the morning, like 8 in the morning, get their coffees. I don't get home, and then they've made themselves another coffee.
That's my dad.
And because we buy the beans from next door as well, and I'm like, why didn't you just come in and give us more business?
No, that's my dad.
Quite offended.
My dad has become best friends with the dude who owns the coffee shop in Shepparton. Dad brought a new car. We've got it so off topic. This is the most off topic podcast we've ever done. But this is a fun story, and I'm not going to stop. So, my dad brought a new car like a few years ago, and
With sport mode?
Yeah.
sports mode. Do you want the whole model? Do you want me to like really rub it in? Do you want me to be a little brat? Okay.
Come on.
So he's brought a Range Rover. I don't know what kind, because I don't know what cars, but it's very ooh la la, super loud, very.
This is my dad's car. So
BMW.
BMW.
Oh.
Glasses. That's what I've been missing this whole time. I'm thinking there's something not right about me. I keep looking at myself. It's because I can't fucking see anything. They're right here. They're just. Okay, anyway, and he brought this car, and he told Mum and I that he was going to buy it, but we didn't really know if he was going to buy it or not. It was kind of, he didn't say anything. And then next minute, he comes home with the guy from the coffee shop, and he's telling us that he's taking him for a ride in his new car.
Just brings him home.
And that was that. And they went for a drive in his new car. They make sports bets together. They're like best fucking buds. We go to the coffee shop. Dad's like, "Oh, Cameron's what?" It's
That's
Love that.
every dad, because my dad is like where they used to live. They became best friends with the people that own the coffee shop, and they just knew my parents by name, and they'd order straight away. They see Jeff pulling up, they're like, "Yeah, we've got it ready." They're like, "Yeah, Jeff."
My dad is antisocial. My mum, social butterfly. She knows everyone everywhere we go.
My mum's the same.
Literally.
My dad's not antisocial, but he chooses who he talks to. Like, yeah.
Oh, same.
Yeah,
But
no. My dad has like 3 friends.
My mum will take me into every fucking shop in Shepparton, and everyone's like, "Oh, Andrea, hi, how are you?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, there's one shop, and it's a men's clothing store, and every time she goes in there, they're like, "Oh, Andrea, hello." She's like, "Oh,
I went shopping with my mum the other week, and we go into a store that we haven't been into, and then my mum was talking to the other being like, "Oh, you know the person that's from this other store," and then like the owner of the store we were in was like, "Oh yeah, like she's told me about you guys," and I'm like,
yeah, no. Every store I go into, it's painful, especially when I go alone. It's like, "Oh my god, you're Andrea's daughter." And I'm like, "Yes, that is me."
You're like, "Who are you? How do you know who I am?"
Oh my god, I don't know. I just got here. Couldn't tell you. I haven't spoken to her yet. She doesn't know I'm here. So I'm going to say good. So, we should get back on track.
well, we got super sidetracked
This
there,
is the most sidetracked.
but that was a bit of fun.
That was, yeah.
Just a little bit of fun.
Well, I guess we'll take this moment to ask you our hot lap question. So basically, our hot lap question is just a question where you just say the first answer that comes to your head. It's nothing difficult, and then you can explain your reasoning behind your answer if you want to. You can also just say it and leave it. So our question for you today is, who is your favorite IndyCar driver?
That's not my...
Okay, go on.
No, you do.
Sorry.
Alexander Rossi. That's my answer.
Georgia?
Well, now don't want to. I'm sad. Okay. Well, mine was...
Georgia.
If you had to choose one IndyCar driver to race with one F1 driver in any sort of motorsport, who would they be and which motorsport would you put him in?
Oh God.
Race against one another.
I'm gonna say motorsport's gonna be supercars, and I would put Marcus Armstrong
Okay.
and chuck Danny Rick in there as well, because I just want to see him.
Interesting.
I would love to see that. I would pay a lot of money to see that.
I think that would be such a good like Bathurst 1000 random entry. Just chuck them in and see what happens. I think that would be great.
Yeah, literally just hope something bad doesn't happen. Oh.
Well, it's because I was gonna say Liam, but he came to my mind last. But he did the lap in the Red Bull car anyway, so I was like, he's already done it. Doesn't matter.
No, you had a good option. All right.
No, yeah. No, that's a good answer. I would pay a lot of money to see it.
Yeah, no, so would I. Where would you get him to race? What would the track be?
You'd have to do somewhere iconic like Bathurst, or I would do Darwin, because they've got a pretty good track up there as well.
I forget.
And that would be like, I feel like that'd be great tourism. I'm just getting into like, let's do a good tourism.
Yeah, you're just trying to like, pump up the hospitality.
You're just going back.
I'm like, my events brain is like.
It's like the people of Darwin have nothing. Let's give them this.
I'm like, you know what? They need some more stuff up there to go on. Just chuck Danny up there with Marcus and see what happens.
Off you go. Oh, amazing.
Well, I mean, thank you so much for coming on today. We have loved having you on. This has been so much fun. Georgia?
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and laughing at all my jokes. I really appreciate it. It gives me the confidence boost I need for the rest of the day to deal with Lara. Because I don't get the reactions I want from her. So, no, it's been awesome for having you on. I'm so glad you were able to come on. And hopefully we get to do this again soon with you, because there's probably 1,000 more things we could talk about, which is quite obvious the way we've been rambling. And I will definitely have more quizzes lined up for you. And I expect to see you at this Kahoot event I am now hosting.
No, I will be first in line.
Lara, I know what we're doing tonight. So...
I'm working tonight, so that's what I'm doing.
We've got things to do. But no, it's been
Cahoots to plan.
It's been amazing having you on, and we hope everyone has enjoyed watching. Make sure to check out Issy on all of their socials. We'll link them all for you, and make sure to check us out. Give us a follow. Like us. What is it? Pick me. Choose.
Choose me. Love me.
Love me.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been a great. It's been so much fun.
I'm so glad you were able to come on. Loved it.